Hello and welcome to this how-to video from Barnabas Junction. In this video I am going to be upgrading this Hornby Car DMU, as you see in front of you, from DC to DCC by installing via hardwire a DCC 8-pin 4-function decoder. It's quite an old model, and as you can see it is in very play-worn condition from the front end. This was purchased initially second-hand, and previous owner had installed some lighting in the front and made modifications to have those, but were removed prior to my purchase. That will be tidied up in time. So we'll get on now with getting the installation of the decoder underway. So here we are now at the workbench, where I plan now to show you the simple installation of an 8-pin 4-function decoder into this model, a 3-car Hornby DMU. This is quite an old model, and I do like it, as this is a locomotive DMU set that frequently travelled around the area where I am from. So what do we need? Well, first of all, we need the decoder, and I have decoders here. These are 8-pin 4-function decoders and are very easy to work with. We'll be hardwiring this decoder into the motor, thus removing the 8-pin plug, which is on the end of the cables. We will also need some cutters, some insulation tape, some wire strippers, and a trusty soldering iron. Now, the difference between this and modern DMUs is the motor and everything is just in one unit. It isn't illuminated in any way, connected in any way between each of the carriages, so there's no connection between them. There is no lighting in them as such, but I will, in time, when I do a restoration on it, fit the lighting in it. So just for today, we will be putting the decoders in. So we don't need these two, as these are non-operational units. We'll put those to one side. All we need now, this is the power unit. So I just simply need to remove the body, which gives us access to the interior. We'll also remove the weight so we don't lose it. With this, it's quite a simple setup. It doesn't have multiple pickups, it just has 2 pickups, one at the front bogie and one on the motor bogie. So it'll be a simple installation. There are more difficult ones to do with multiple pickups, but it's the same setup. It just means connecting up extra wires. So we'll get on explaining a bit about the decoder. So the decoders we are going to be fitting into this are LaisDCC decoders. They're not expensive decoders. They're only about £10 each and can be purchased from various stockists. I get myself from the Loco Shed. These do come with a full wiring kit, including the stay alives. All details for each of the wires are fully available via their downloadable manual on their website. I will supply a link in the description below for anyone wishing to read the manual about this. Now, with this particular installation, we don't need any lighting. We don't need to be fitting anything special for any special functions. It's just generally DCC operation. So we're actually going to be only using 4 of the wires on this: the red, the black, the grey and the orange. Red and black, they are the rail pickup wires, and the grey and orange are the wires that go to the motor. So to do this, to fit this, first of all we're going to be removing the 8-pin from this, as this obviously is hardwire. It does not have a decoder socket fitted with it. You can get decoder sockets to fit into non-DCC locos, so then you can just put a decoder straight in, but in this case we will be hardwiring this. So I'm going to go off now, and I'm going to remove this and then tape up all the wires which are still left, which we will not require to be using during this installation. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're now back. I have now insulated away all the wires that are not required in this installation. I've not cut them off. Some people do recommend, or some people do suggest cutting off all the wires that you do not need. But personally, I recommend you do not do that, as that then makes this decoder completely unusable in any other format. You may want to use the additional wires for the stay alive. You may want to use the additional wires for lighting later on with a further upgrade, or even if you want to move it then onto another locomotive. So I highly suggest you don't cut anything off. You just safely ensure that it's all insulated away, so none of the end of the wires can touch any, can't make any contact with any electrics or metal within the locomotive to then short out the decoder. I have cut off the end, the original 8-pin end. Some people say also to cut them right back to the pin. I also, again, I suggest leaving a little bit on them, because these pins can become very useful with putting them back on, so maybe a decoder that you wish to use again, or you may end up with a pin on a decoder that the decoder works perfectly fine, but the pin itself has become damaged. You could swap it over, thus making this usable again. So keep that stored away for the future. So with this, we now just got the 4 wires. We have red, black, orange and grey. Red and black for the rails and the rails and pickups. Orange and grey to the motor. So where do these go? Well, it's pretty simple, as there's only 2 pickups on this. One of them is the motor bogie, that is a pickup, and the front bogie is a pickup. So it's relatively easy to do. We have a wire here which is being picked up from the motor bogie and transferred to the motor, and then we got the other one coming from the front bogie for the pickup to the motor. What we're going to be doing is inserting the decoder between these wires so that the circuit will go to the decoder, then to the motor, from the motor back to the decoder, then back to the pickup. One minor little thing we'll have to do with the motor though is just inside here. I'm not sure if you can see. Let's see if I can get better light. Just inside. It's like a little capacitor. This has to be removed for DCC operation. In all that I've done, when I have removed them, I've kept hold of them, bagged them up, and so I know what locomotive they've come from, what motor they come from. So if I ever wish to return it to factory state, I can put it back. But that's a simple job of removing it from around the coil area or desoldering, whichever way it is connected up. So I'm going to take these off now, and I'm going to remove that, and then we'll come back to show you what goes where. Okay, so now we're back. I've now just taken the wiring off and taken off the little capacitor that was wrapped around the motor. That wasn't soldered in my case, it was just basically wrapped around, so that was very easy, and I can keep that without any problems and restore it if I ever need to, so I'll put that away somewhere safe. So here we have the 2 wires that are left that came from the pickups, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut these so that the decoder can be bridged between them. Red and black are for the rails. They come from the rail pickups. Red being the right rail and black being the left rail. So what you'll need to do is check which is your left and which is your right on here, and connect them with the relative wire, whichever. So for example, black, once we've cut this off, that would then connect to the black, like so. We'd cut that in half, red would connect to the red. Then on the way back, coming out of the decoder, grey and orange then go to the motor. So what we do with this is grey would connect to the other section and orange would connect to the other end, thus then creating the full circuit around the locomotive for the decoder. You can do these connections via simple methods: cut them, strip them, solder them together, ensuring a good firm connection. You can then use some heat shrink wrap around the wires to ensure that they are sealed and away from any form of connectivity and shorting, or you can use a bit of insulation tape, just ensuring that any bare wire is fully covered. Okay, so we're back, and we have now our wires connected up, as you'll see right here in my hand. I've not taped them up yet, just to show you how simple it is with the soldering. We'll go with the pickups first. We've got the red and the black to the decoder, and those are your pickups. So that one was there, that one is to go there. So they're your pickups to your decoder. So it's your right rail and left rail pickups, and then from the decoder it then continues on to the motor. So that would go there and that would go there. Grey going to that side of the motor and orange to that side of the motor. So that is simply it. So I'm going to go on now and I will tape these up and get that fitted into there, and I'll show you that once it's done. So here we are back now after fitting it all into the motor, connecting all the wires up. I will state though, I did make a mistake just before doing that. The black goes to the front one, the red goes to the motor bogie itself. I got them the wrong way around. Apologies for that, but we all make the odd mistake. Everything else is connected up better. Instead of having them on the pegs, I've put them straight to the flanges of the front of the motor to get a better connection. It's all connected up. Decoder sits nicely in here, tucked up out the way. There will be seating in here, so that will be hidden away eventually. But we're on the programming track now, and as every decoder, its default setting is number 3. Here we have my programming controller set on 3, and we will test. So we're going to go that way. There it goes, lovely and slow. Back the other way. It works successfully well. Brilliant. Not a problem. What I did do though, while I was doing all that, I thought I'd take the opportunity to give the motor itself a thorough clean, an absolutely thorough clean. I took all the frontage out, cleaned all the springs, the contacts and everything, giving that a really, really good service, and it runs much better than it did before as well. So I'm pleased that I've done that and achieved that a very old locomotive now is running just like a brand new one. So we're going to put this all back together and then whip it over and we'll see it running. back shortly. So here we are now back at the main layout. I have now given this an address for operation here at Barnabas, and we've got it connected up back with its original 2 carriages, and all is working really brilliantly. I'm pleased to say that the service has improved, it's running, so without further ado we shall move off. There we go, and we'll bring it back. Lovely smooth running. So there you go. That's how simple it is to install a DCC chip into a DC locomotive, DMU, engine, whichever it might be. Simple as that. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been of interest to you. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. And until the next time, see you again soon. Bye.